Hey everyone! A couple times a year, I feel like I need to do a purge. And I've got all these freezers in my garage. And you know, sometimes things just get jumbled around in there and you feel like you just need to go through and clean things out. But I hate wasting anything. So the good news is there's a lot of stuff in here that we are going to find some really good uses for. So let me explain our setup here. This is in our garage. This chest freezer is dog food and cat food. We feed raw food, so we have a lot of frozen parts and pieces and complete diets that we keep in this freezer. The next freezer over is our fruit and veggie freezer. And this one contains mostly things that we grew in our garden over the summer. But some of the stuff's been in here since last summer and it really needs to get used and make room for some new stuff. Our next refrigerator freezer is for drinks and sodas and that sort of thing down below. And then we have meats for human consumption that are up there. I mean, frankly, everything in here is human grade, but we keep meats in there. And then our big guy way down at the end, we bought that freezer because I wanted to buy half a cow. And so we needed something that big to store the meat and organs from a half a cow. That freezer is getting very low on meat, so we are about to have a whole hog slaughtered, and that will go in there, and then we're going to restock our beef supply. So I'm gonna start over here with what's in my freezer. This is our dog freezer, but there are some things in here that didn't come specifically as dog food, but we are going to make them into dog food. So one of the things that we got when we had the half a cow slaughtered is we took the bones. So these are actually beef bones that have been cut into small pieces. Now they're a little small for feeding to the dogs. I'd be a little bit nervous, but these are going to make some awesome bone broth. So I think we have 3 packs of these, and I'm going to be making some bone broth in my big slow cooker. It'll cook for about 24 hours. We'll add some herbs and vegetables and apple cider vinegar in there to make an amazing beef bone broth. Let's see. We also got some bigger bones, and I may give those to friends with big dogs because they are raw who want to chew on them. Or they will get made into bone broth as well. Then, let's see, this is beef heart. This is beef heart. Okay, so this beef heart, it's the whole heart, that came with our half a cow. This beef heart are cut into chunks, and that came from Hair Today up in Pittsburgh. For our dogs with heart disease, we can grind this, we can make this into dehydrated treats, but this will be really good to support heart function, very high in carnitine and taurine. All right. Also from Hair Today, we have a big slab of beef liver. Organs are so healthy to be fed to our dogs. This is a powerhouse of vitamins and minerals for them. So we'll be able to grind that up as well. And unfortunately, I did not get the liver when we had the half a cow slaughtered. Should have done that. So in addition, we also have chicken liver. So I've got liver from a couple of different sources, and I also have chicken hearts. So for those dogs, we have one who cannot eat beef, so we will be grinding up chicken organs to add into her diets. My other bag of bones. Now, with our cow, we got some steaks that are just really tough cuts of meat. Hugh's a foodie, actually so am I, and so we really like that nice tender cut of beef for us. But I don't want this meat to go to waste. So I've got a couple of beef shoulders. There's a beef sirloin steak, but it's just not a well marbled cut of beef. That's another shoulder. And this one is a chuck roast. So because those are tough cuts of beef that we don't want to eat, we're gonna use those a couple of different ways. I can grind them and make them into stews. I can make them into pup loaf. I can feed them raw ground. The other thing that we can do is we can thin slice them 1/4 inch thick and put them in our dehydrator and make really nice chews for the dogs. So that'll work their teeth and gums. Beef is a really good blood tonic. One of our little guys tends to run with a lower red blood cell count, tends to want to be a little bit anemic. So that's going to be the perfect treat for him to help build blood. Oh, let's see what else we have in here. We do have complete diets in here. This one is all provide for kitty cats. We have all provide for dogs. We've got some Viva Raw down in here. I've got a little bit more hair today. This one is just ground beef organs, which includes lung and trachea, and I can't even read what's in there, kidney. So that'll be heart, liver, that'll be good to put in there as well. So we've got all kinds of fun things. And you can see there's a lot of stuff. So that's gonna allow me to get a lot of stuff out of this freezer, and I can use it a lot of different ways. Now, my veggie freezer also happens to be a little overwhelmed with stuff. So I've got a 1/2 bag of broccoli. Obviously that was not from our garden, but I've got a 1/2 bag of broccoli. It's great for the dogs. I'm gonna use it up, I'm gonna throw it into one of my concoctions. We have tons of cranberries because I stock up when they're in season. Great for bladder health, great for kidney chi. So I like to include cranberries in a lot of my recipes. If you're going to feed them raw, please grind them. Otherwise, the dogs don't break down those plant cell walls very well. They come out whole the other end. So please grind them up for absorption. Now this is not something that I would feed my dogs a lot, except that I have a bunch of it and I'm going to. Cucumber. So why would I freeze cucumber? Well, I originally froze it thinking it would be really good in like drinks and that sort of thing, but I've got a bunch, way too much. So it's cooling and draining, and particularly if it was hot out, this would be a great treat to thaw out and let them have, but I can grind it and use it in recipes where I need that cooling, draining effect. So I've got a bunch of that. I also have a boatload, which is a lot, of zucchini. So I've got 2 different kinds of zucchini in here, and that is just a great source of water-soluble vitamins and a fiber source, so it acts as a prebiotic. So we've got a bunch of that we can use. We also have spaghetti squash. So when we're looking for foods that are going to be good for digestion and for the earth personality, we want oranges and yellows. So the spaghetti squash is going to be great for that. We have baskets of food. So the next basket down happens to have a ton of pumpkin. I've got a lot of pumpkin. I've been using it to make pumpkin pies. Well, my hands are freezing. But pumpkin is amazing fiber source, vitamin source, carotene, beta carotene for our dogs. So I can use that as part of my recipe as well. Now with these recipes, in order to get them balanced, I'm gonna have to add some supplements. We're gonna need some kelp, we're gonna need some turmeric, things that we'll add in, but this is such a great base to start a recipe, to start a diet, and then we can add things into it as we go. Let's see what else is down here. A boatload more pumpkin, more spaghetti squash. And I do have things like okra, corn, and lima beans. I don't use starches for my dogs, so I'm not gonna use the corn, I'm not gonna use the lima beans, those are gonna be for us. I have not used okra in dog food, but I am hearing people talking about using okra. So maybe, but again, we have to break down those plant cell walls. So any of these plant materials that we're using, we're going to either bake them, slow cook them, or grind them to break down those cell walls so that the animals can actually utilize them. So I'm gonna be able to clean a lot of stuff out of these freezers because I've got a ton of meat, and then that'll help me to use up a lot of these add-ins as far as my green and orange and yellow veggies and my cranberries. So I talk about coloring the rainbow with our food. We got a pretty good rainbow here. So I'm feeling good about it, and I'm really excited to thaw out a bunch of stuff and get to work.